I came to talk to you guys about a conversation I had earlier today with a friend of mine, and they were feeling a little frustrated, and we started to have a conversation about inner dialogue and self-confidence. And I wanted to share some tips with you guys that has really helped me over the last few years of developing and redeveloping a relationship with my inner voice. I think that it can get really frustrating when people are like, just love yourself, you know? And I'm a person that is a big proponent of saying love yourself. It will solve a lot of issues. But people are like, well, what does that mean? Like, sure, I love myself, but I still have inner thoughts that are self-deprecating, that are mean, and that's just what my brain does. That's just how my brain works. And to that I say, yes, that might be how your brain works right now. You've probably lived 20, 30 years of being programmed to teach yourself a relationship with yourself that's based on shame, that's based on demeaning yourself, whether these are self-created or societally influenced or even given to you by your family's personal, traditional, religious, ideologies, whatever it may be, right? We develop a relationship, and that relationship evolves based on what we've been taught and what we continue to do. And one of the most powerful things that I started to practice when I was really being intentional about reestablishing a relationship with myself that was healthy was to speak to myself out loud when I hear that I'm having self-deprecating thoughts or saying things in a really mean or unloving way. And that doesn't mean not being accountable to myself. It just means, why am I phrasing it in a way that is laced with shame, that's laced with disdain, that's laced with a lack of love for myself or empathy? It did not require me to be mean, or it is not a requirement to be mean or to make myself feel bad in order to motivate myself to be better. And when I realized that, when I truly believed that, I started to understand how the conversations with myself were perpetuating me not feeling good about myself, right? So, for example, let's say that I said I was going to do something and I didn't get around to it for whatever reason, right? Maybe there's a actual real reason why, or maybe I made an excuse. Maybe I fell short of the things that I was supposed to do. And at the end of the day, I have two ways that I can speak to myself about the same issue. One, which is, you suck. Why are you like this? You said you were going to do it and you didn't. This is why you aren't where you need to be, and all of this stuff, And maybe somebody's listening and they're like, well, it's true. Sometimes you have to be truthful to yourself. Okay. I am under the mindset that you can be honest with yourself, just like you can be honest with other people without having to wrap it in. I don't even know the exact word that I'm looking for, but wrapping it in such disdain is the word I'm going to keep using, because it's not a kind tone. If I say that I'm going to do something and for some reason, whether it's my fault or not, and I don't do it, I feel like I try to call to myself like, hey, what's missing here? Why did we not do the things that we said we were going to do today? Was there a real reason, or was there a real impediment to being able to get it done that was out of our control and we did the best that we could? Yes? Okay, let's acknowledge that. Let's regroup and reset for tomorrow so that our priorities are in alignment with our actions, right? Because we are accountable and we're capable of getting back on track. That's a loving, kind, accountable way to be realistic about things happening, right? But let's just say it was our fault. Maybe I procrastinated. Maybe I, prioritized something that wasn't as important. Maybe I was just being lazy. You can evoke a sense of understanding, grace, and compassion, or even curiosity around why you are or are not doing certain things that are supposed to be important to you, without making yourself feel like you're the worst person in the world. Because often when we are deprioritizing, procrastinating, putting things off, it is a signal of something else. Whether we're overstimulated, maybe the task that we have is actually not a priority. Maybe it's somebody else's priority. Maybe we have not given ourselves tools of accountability. Maybe we feel overwhelmed by the idea. And when we can get really granular and specific on why the things that are happening internally are prohibiting us from moving forward to the dreams that we set out for ourselves, then we can start to really solve some issues, right? Because saying you suck doesn't solve the issue of shame. Saying you suck does not make you less of a procrastinator and understand why you're actually procrastinating something that you feel like you want in your life. You know, shaming yourself and making yourself feel like, oh, you're a loser because you didn't do anything is not going to make you feel like less of a loser tomorrow. You're not a loser because you aren't perfect all the time. You're not a loser or, you know, a bad person because you went to the gym one less day than you were supposed to. Can you hold yourself to a higher level of accountability to stick to the things you say you're going to do? Sure. Okay, now let's find a process to make sure that happens. Does that mean maybe you need an accountability partner? Maybe. Maybe you need to incentivize yourself. Maybe you need to put yourself on a public platform. Maybe you need to find a group of people that are doing something like-minded. Maybe you need to find deeper education. Maybe you need to see a therapist. Maybe you need to take that thing off your list because it's actually not important to you. But curiosity is kind of the antithesis of shame, right? Because shame says, I know that this is bad, and that because it's bad, I'm going to make you feel bad and make you feel like less because you did not uphold this standard of quote unquote perfection or the standard of what excellence looks like in this form. But I think that there's something to say about being loving and kind enough to yourself to say, I fell short of my goals, but I'm still capable of achieving them. So tomorrow I'm going to get up, I'm going to do better, I'm going to be the person that I know I can be, and I'm going to push towards the goals that I set for myself. Not because I am an unworthy version of myself now, but because I know that I am worthy of experiencing a life that really gets me close to achieving and allows me to accomplish the goals that I set out for myself, that allows me to create and shape a life that looks like the dreams that I have in my head. And if there's something that you take into this week, I would challenge you to speak kindly to yourself. And if you're having a hard time doing that, do it out loud. So what I used to do, and I still do this, it just happens less often because I've now trained my brain. If you're finding that you say something negative to yourself, immediately out loud challenge it. So something that I really wanted to work on a few years ago was saying stupid, right? Like if I say, oh, that was stupid. I just don't like that vernacular personally. I understand for some people, they'll be like, oh, people are so sensitive. I personally did not like calling myself stupid for things that were just silly, right? Whether I was being absent-minded, whether it was just me being clumsy, maybe it was an accident, maybe it was me not paying attention. So what I started to do was, number one, I stopped using the word stupid. Every time I used the word stupid internally, out loud, I would challenge that. So let's just say I knocked over a cup, right? And I'm like, oh, that was stupid. My brain says that internally. Out loud, I'll immediately say, that wasn't stupid. Firstly, let's slow down. You're tired. You're moving quickly because you're trying to get things done. Let's breathe and take a step. Mistakes happen. Spills happen. Let's clean it up and move on. It's not a big deal. All of those steps would still have to take place whether or not I shamed myself. I'd still have to clean up the cup. I'd still have to pick up the spill, and I'd still have to keep going with my day. So what is the benefit of making myself feel stupid because of something that did not require that? Instead, it allowed me to look at the situation with curiosity, understand that it is a reflection of feeling overwhelmed or feeling tight for time, or maybe being tired, or maybe being, a little absent-minded because I'm not being present. Okay, great. Solve the issue. Now I know what the issue is. Now I can call back to my presence, slow down, figure out why I'm moving so erratically, and do it in a shorter time period without repeating the mistakes, because I did it with love, and then I also did it through curiosity. After a while, I just stopped using the word stupid internally. I just don't use that. There are so many other words to describe what's actually going on in a situation, and most often than not, we do not use the proper vocabulary to describe what we are dealing with, right? So in that case, maybe I'm just being absent-minded. Maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I need to prioritize rest. And sometimes when it comes to your goals, whether it's going to the gym or getting a certain grade or doing certain tasks, allow yourself to see yourself as worthy even when you make mistakes, even when you fall short. That's step one. And then step two, approach it with curiosity to figure out, well, why is this not working in the way that I thought it would? Do I need to change something about the situation? Do I need to readjust and realign my goals and priorities? Do I need to create new processes for myself, right? And that's not to say, if you're building the skill and the tool of discipline, maybe you right now are not the person you need to rely on to make sure you get that done. So maybe you call on a friend and get them to be your accountability partner. I did that with YouTube. I text my mom a link, and two of my best friends, I send them a link every day after I post these videos, even if it's midnight, because that's the level of that's how I set up accountability for myself to make sure that I am getting on here and doing that. So number one, I created an external accountability space that's showing up every day in front of you guys. And then I also created a closer accountability that will keep me on track on a daily basis by having my community just be like, hey girl, yeah, I'm happy to be your accountability partner. I set the rules for that. But what it did was allowed me another thing to look forward to or to look at to support the overall goals and dreams. Instead of just being like, oh, Marjani, you've been saying you're gonna start a YouTube channel forever. You suck, you're never gonna do it. You said you were gonna do it. You know what? Well, I'm doing it now. And now to make sure that I stay on track, I'm going to utilize the community that I have to get that done. And let's say you don't have the community from friends or family. There are people online, there are groups, there are apps, things like that can help. So get creative on how to find solutions as you develop the skills you need to accomplish your goals. I recommend doing it with love because I think it will get you places further and faster. But even more than that, it allows you to enjoy the process and enjoy all the different stages of who you are as you develop into who you're becoming. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed our little chat. I thought it was gonna be a little quick 3 minutes, but your girl's a yapper. I told you, I'm a certified yapper, and once I start talking, it's really hard to get me to stop. But it is 8 o'clock now, and I need to upload this, edit some of these chunks out, and then get this uploaded in time. Try to go to bed at a decent hour so that I can have a strong week ahead, because I have goals that I would like to achieve and they require rest. All right, guys. Well, happy Sunday. This is day 6. So tomorrow is technically day 7, which I think is a good place to kind of restart the week on this challenge. It's been interesting so far, and I'm really excited to speak more to you guys about just the musings in my head. In my head. I only have one, even though sometimes it feels like there's a million of them up here. I hope that you guys were able to reset and create your goals for the week. If there's something that you want me to talk about or any questions, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to respond to any video requests or questions that you have. Let's start a conversation. We're friends here, all right? Anyway, happy Sunday. Have a great week ahead, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, love you. Bye.